All right, I'm trying to shorten the video here. It looks like if it breaks yesterday's pivot, there's room for it to go down here on the day chart down to the 8. So I've already entered in early on one position. I'm ready to add to it if it breaks the pivot. I got my stop loss at the top of the first 2-minute candle.
Order filled.
All right, we added to our position. Now I'm going to take my stop loss and bring it down to that candle, to the and then we reduced our risk. So our stop loss is just above the entry candles, because if it keeps going, it keeps going. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We don't need to move our stop loss higher and higher. That's one thing that I'm not going to be doing anymore, is moving my stop loss. Keep it right there. So if it fakes us out and does not continue to go down, then we get out quick. The market's weak, the market's red. Hopefully it'll keep going. And we'll just trail it little by little. Hopefully it'll make a big move here. Here it comes back up. Here it comes, and it could easily stop us out. That's not the candle you want to see. That's just the opposite of what you want. Okay, so there you go. It's not going down yet. Head fake. You got to get out. Sorry, I don't like it. It pisses me off. I hate that, but
order filled.
It got me out of both of them. So there you go. This is just a good lesson to keep your trade, and keep your stop losses where they're at. Do not move your stop loss. That was a good try. I have nothing to say bad about getting in that trade and when I got in that trade. It just didn't follow through. So now I don't know what to do. And you got to be careful with your emotions, because now you're just like, and if it goes in the right direction, now if it goes back down, I'll have to examine whether or not I had my stop loss too close, because that's possible. And is there another entry point to get back in this thing? So NVDA is just going straight back up. So see, that's why we got to get out of our stop. We got to get out quickly on those things. We cannot hold something and hope that it goes in the right direction. So yeah, there goes PayPal. We should have probably been in that already. Yep, I should have been in that, but it's got yesterday's high to get through. I should have already been in a little bit. On a 5-minute chart, you can see it still has yesterday's high. It's getting up to that point. But if we would have got in over the top of this consolidation right here, we would have been in it up to that point. So I'm a little mad that I didn't catch that. I'm trying to short it here because it's getting trapped under the moving average. It's a great setup if it works. Of course, it didn't work yesterday. All it did was chop around and stop me out over and over and over. So I may play this a little bit differently, in that I'll keep a small position size and let the stop loss come up a little higher and keep some room for it to move around. So if it breaks down below here, this structure, after being trapped underneath on the 2-minute, it's on the 5-minute, and even on the 15-minute, we'll go short, and we'll also hold for a higher move up, but we'll keep the position small. It's the only way we can do that. Yep, so shorting this does not look like a good idea. Again, look at this. That candle is too strong going back up. And if I didn't get out, notice on the video earlier, when I did, it would have went all the way to the top and got me out for even a bigger loss. So keeping the stop loss close is a good idea. You see on the 5-minute chart, this thing is just not rolling over like we want. I mean, that previous 5-minute candle is just 100% too strong. And now the range to short it is so far, it's hard to get a good stop loss on it. Look at the 60-minute chart in the top left. It's just pushing up through. And I mean, that's definitely an area that it can get stuck though. We've got this resistance trend line we should keep an eye on here. It's hitting all the moving averages, all three of them, and close to a trend line. You would think that it would get stuck right there, even on the daily chart. It's on the bottom part of the trend line pushing up. Yeah, it's trying to get through it. Almost is through it. We've got a sell signal on the 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the 2-minute chart, and I'm just trying to work this out to where it goes down. I'm trying to figure out the best way to play this. NVIDIA is finally starting to break down. I just don't know. Oh, man. It's such a tough stock to trade.
Order filled.
All right, I'm going to short it. The high of the 15-minute candle will be my stop, 390.57. And NVIDIA is holding that area of where we entered in. So this is our second trade on NVIDIA, so hopefully it'll work. If it goes up and stops us out, if it goes up over the 50 moving average or starts closing above the 8 and the 2, then we have to consider getting out. Now NVIDIA is trying to push up over the moving averages like it did over here, but all it did over here is reverse. But still, once it does that, you got to get out. Once it starts closing, as it's doing, 2 times above the, it's even closing above the 8 and the 20. If it pushes up higher again, we have to get out. So what we're going to do is lower that stop loss to the top of that last candle and take our loss like a man. Right there, there it goes. That's too high. It's coming up too high. And that will be our second trade on Tesla.
Order filled.
Okay, so that's our second trade on NVIDIA. Apple's going down, but it's bouncing off a lot of support. A lot of support. And if it breaks that support, though, it'd be a good short. We got the 50 on the 60-minute chart, the 200 on the 15-minute chart. We got the 8 moving average on the daily chart. That's a lot of support it's bouncing off of. Maybe go long on it. If it consolidates and pushes down, it would be a good short. But right now, there's no trade. There's no setup to buy yet. Unless you're just going to buy right off the pivot, bounce right off the lines, which is a good strategy, but you got to be careful. I mean, where's your stop loss? So like I said, here on the 2-minute chart, if that keeps going down and rotates down past this pivot, that's going to be where the 8 moving average is on the daily chart. PayPal looks like it wants to break out. See what the markets are doing. Apple's got too much support. I'm not going to be able to short Apple, but there might be a long opportunity. Like I said, we can't short Apple until it breaks below all that support. It's got a lot of support. We got 2 live orders. Apple, did Apple break down? Apple broke down past the 50. It's trying to break down past the, oh, here we go. I need to short Apple, at least something. 2, we got to short Apple. Short.
Order filled.
Okay, so the stop loss will be, very tight. Even the pivots of that it broke down from, that we gotta keep it tight here. So it's pushing past the 200 moving average on the 15-minute chart. We got our stop loss in. We just need a profit target in here. Stop loss, profit target. Here we go. I'm looking at the 15-minute chart candle, that little piece there. The high is 178.51. So that's where around that area is where our stop loss is going to be. Somewhere in that area there. We have our stop loss in. Okay. 2-to-1 profit target. Let's see what happens because it's a long ways for that thing to drop. Okay, Apple's back over the 200 moving average on the 15-minute chart. And it could easily print a bounce off the 50 moving average on the 60-minute chart. I'm keeping my stop loss where it is, because it's going to have to go over the top of that yellow candle on the 15-minute chart to stop me out. So cool with that. Apple's almost going to stop me out. It's bouncing off of the 200 moving average and the 50 moving average area. If it goes all the way up and doesn't make a lower high, it will stop me out. I know there's a lot of room for it to go up here. It can ping pong in between these moving averages, the 8 and the 200 here on the 15-minute chart too. But let's see if it's going to make a lower high here, and I'll stay in the trade. It's above yesterday's pivot. Apple price closed above the 8 and the 20. But a lot of times that's a good area to short if everything still looks trending down. We'll see what happens here on these next few candles. If it consolidates and rolls up over the top of this red candle, it definitely will stop us out. Apple's starting to look like it wants to rotate around here, so I am getting dropping my stop even lower. It looks like I got at the bottom here, right at the very bottom, and now if it starts to close above these little, you got to get out. And even if see it's closed back above the 200 here, so I'm closing this position.
Order filled.
Unfortunately, close that position. Reason why is because on the 15-minute chart, it closed 2 times above. It never even closed below the 200. So it's stuck in between the 200 and the 8 moving average. Although it's a nice downtrend on the 5-minute chart, this 50 moving average on the 60 and the 200 moving average on the 15 and the 8 moving average on the daily is too much support. Too much support. I like that I lowered my stop loss on Apple when I noticed that it was coming back around. That was a good judgment because it would have stopped me out higher anyway, so we got out when we should have gotten out. Once we see Tesla closing above the 8 and the 20 on the 2-minute chart, that's time to see if the next candle goes even higher. That's our stop loss moment. So we got out below our other stop loss, which saved us some money. Good, good, good. PayPal looks like it wants to break out. First 2-minute candle. It's over the top of the first 2-minute candle almost. Keep an eye on that. Tesla looks like it wants to go down. Is there room for it to go down? Yes. On the daily, yes. It's on the 20-minute, the 20 moving average on the 60-minute chart though. But we could try to short this right here if it breaks past this. So we got a short on Tesla here. 2-minute chart. It's fallen below the 200 moving average. On the 5-minute, it's below the moving averages on the 15. It's just struggling with that 20 moving average on the 60-minute chart, but this looks pretty good. It's already fallen and consolidated below yesterday's pivot. Right here's the pivot from yesterday. So that is good. It's holding right there. I mean, this is an area that we could short, and our stop loss would be somewhere near the 20 moving average. PayPal looks like it's a buy opportunity. It looks like it's trying to consolidate and push higher. And I should have bought it when it came down. I was looking at Tesla, and when it came down towards that 8 moving average, that would have been a great place to get that. I really think it's going to keep going. So I'm going to enter a couple, since I'm behind here, I'm going to enter in a little bit.
Order filled.
At least I got something, and then if it drops back down, we will add to it. Stop loss is going to be underneath that candle. Okay, stop loss is in for that. Let's go here. Okay, PayPal's coming back down to the stop loss where I had it. And do I really want to get stopped out right there? It's pushing past the 8. Is this where I want to get stopped out, or is this a place where I can actually add? Because the position is so small that there's a chance here that we can add back in it. But it's collapsing back below the pivot of yesterday, right? It failed to break out, so we've got to take that into consideration. It did not break out, but it's bouncing off support, bouncing off the moving averages. Let's see what happens here. There's a chance that I can get back in a little bit more on this since I went real small. It's actually at the original entry point, which if I got in, I would have took profits at the top there. If I would have gotten in where I wanted to get in, I would have taken out some profits at the top of that pivot up there. But it didn't work out that way. So now we got to play it a little bit differently. It's bouncing off some moving averages right there on the 5-minute chart. It's a good place to actually add. I should have added right there. Bounce off the 20 moving average on the 2-minute chart.
Order filled.
I'm not even sure. I think PayPal might have triggered us in for a second because I wanted to wait for it to get over the red candle here. I wanted to see if once price started pushing over the top of these red candles, and it did, and we triggered in for another to add it to the position. Let's keep an eye on that. That's PayPal. PayPal, we don't have a stop loss on PayPal because I want to keep adding to it. I feel like I need to add to this as long as it stays above these moving averages and doesn't reverse. PayPal's finally coming down here. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I guess I do need to get a stop loss. I mean, I can't keep adding to it if it goes down. Everything's short except PayPal. I mean, you got all that support at the bottom. It's one of those things where I would probably try to add under this support level, in this support level, and see if I can bounce it up into the break even. But it has to be, you have to pay attention to that very carefully. I can't get into that kind of trading where I'm just adding to a trade that's going against me. PayPal's finally going, thank goodness. So now all we got is our one position that we're long in, PayPal. Okay, we're adding to our PayPal account. It's the only one that's going right for us, and very confident it's going to continue to go right. So we'll build into this position and try to get it to be profitable for the day, hopefully. So looks like NVDA came all the way up, ticked me out for my stop loss before turning back around and staying sideways. And that could be quite aggravating. We got in Tesla. Looks like we got in Tesla. So we want our stop loss to be somewhere above the 8 moving average, or at least above that candle right there, 214.37. Yeah, something like that. If it continues, I hope it does. Tesla's coming right back up. It looks like it's bouncing off that 20 moving average on the, I want it to be, well, I want it to be above that 8 moving average, my stop loss. So let's keep it a little higher. That's the only reason I'm moving it, and I'm not moving it for any other reason. That's where I thought I had it, I should say.
Order filled.
All right, something stopped me out apparently. So it must have been a Tesla. Yep, Tesla stopped me out. So I can't stay. You can't stay in that. We're practicing getting out of trades that do not work for us. So that's the second trade of the day that failed, but that's okay. We didn't fail because we are learning to exit properly. So Tesla went all the way up, violated, and looks like it tested that area. It looks like it's another short opportunity, so we're going to get in early.
Order filled.
I don't want to wait for it to break down below, and then I'll put my stop loss one more time at the top of, over the top of that same pivot that it got aggravated on. I'm looking at the 5-minute chart, seeing that it just can't get back up. It tried to get back up through the 200. Meanwhile, the moving averages are slowly expanding and pushing down. So I'll try it one more time on Tesla. Let's make sure our stop loss is in on Tesla. Yeah, stop loss is in. Okay, Tesla is just going sideways and consolidated. It's not having that breakout moment. So I moved my stop lower, above the 20 still, and above yesterday's pivot. But if it stays trapped underneath the moving averages on the 5-minute chart here, it might be worth holding.
Order filled.
And I'm not sure what happened there. Looks like Tesla got stopped out too, but look at these reversal candles off the bottoms here. Boom, boom. So why were we trying to short that when it's hitting the 20 moving average on the 60-minute chart? That's a good question. I like the 15-minute chart though. It was breaking down, and that's why we shorted it. It just didn't go down enough because we got in right here. It stopped me out the first time. Tried it again. Didn't go down enough. So there's 2 trades right there to short it. That did not work.